Exposed by a single hair, her incredible journey to healing after discovering a secret love. Mary's heart raced as she gingerly removed the dust-covered photo frame from her father's belongings in the attic. A single strand of vibrant hair slid out, tumbling across the faded wood floor like a whispered secret. It contrasted sharply against the sepia-toned photograph of family gatherings that echoed with long-lost laughter, a reminder of simpler times. Her father, his easy smile frozen in time, stood proudly beside her late mother, joy enveloping them like sunlight breaking through heavy clouds. What could this hair mean? Was it a remnant of a forgotten love, hidden beneath the weight of family tradition? As sunlight streamed in through the attic window, Mary felt an electric thrill pulse through her. Here, amidst the shadows of her father's past, lay an unspoken story waiting to be unveiled. Her fingers trembled as she followed the trail of this unfamiliar mystery, a swirling vortex of determination and doubt. She could sense the walls of her carefully structured world beginning to tremble. The home that had sheltered her and her ambitious teenage son, Ben, was now laced with unexpected questions. The charm of Maplewood, her quaint town nestled in the heart of the Midwest, felt oppressive. The townspeople thrived on order and predictability, with whispers that traveled faster than the summer breeze. If they caught wind of her father's secret love, would their glares pierce through to her heart? Would she become an outcast in the very community that once embraced her family? Yet, as Mary dug deeper into the memories, the tangled threads of loyalty and truth began to unravel. She discovered not only her father's hidden love, but a myriad of unfulfilled desires, cloaked in the guise of family pride. Conflicted, Mary fought to uphold the values her parents had instilled in her while grappling with the crumbling facade of her family's legacy. Just then, the attic door creaked open. Emily, her estranged sister, entered with a scowl etched on her face, the weight of their shared history crackling in the air between them. "Are you really going to poke around in Dad's past?" Emily's voice was frosty, filled with years of unresolved tension. It'll ruin everything he worked for. For Emily, keeping the family image intact meant more than pride. It was survival in a community that thrived on appearances. Mary felt her chest tighten. But isn't the truth more important? Their argument roared with emotion, the sisters caught in a storm of anger and hurt. The attic walls trembled with their words, old wounds reopened like flayed skin. In that charged space, Charlie, a wise old family friend and community veteran, stepped in, his gaze holding years of experience. "You both need to confront this. It's time for healing, not hiding," he urged gently. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Tension hung palpably in the air as the reality of her father's love threatened both siblings' sense of identity. Mary's heart raced as she struggled to balance her father's legacy with the need for acceptance. Did honoring his memory mean exposing a past that could tear their family apart? As the sisters stood on that precipice, feeling the ground beneath them shift, Mary's search for truth culminated in a single, tickling thought. Maybe love, no matter how tangled, deserved a chance to breathe. The question lingered in her mind like the solitary strand of hair she had found. Could they face their family's past together, or would the weight of it irrevocably fracture their bond? Mary's breath hitched as the silence enveloped the attic, heavy and unyielding. The air crackled with the remnants of their heated argument, and she could sense Emily's gaze piercing through her, searching for a chink in the armor she had built against the storm of emotions swirling inside. This was no longer just about her father's hidden love. It was about their fractured relationship, haunted by years of resentment and misunderstanding. "Do you really think Dad wanted this exposed?" Emily demanded, crossing her arms tightly, a protective shield against vulnerability. "He kept this from us for a reason." Mary's heart pounded. Maybe he thought we wouldn't understand. Or maybe he knew we would judge him, Emily shot back, the bitterness evident in her voice. You think you're so brave, but what if you find something that destroys everything? The weight of that thought hung between them like a suffocating fog. Would uncovering the truth usher in a fresh start, or sink them further into a chasm of division? Mary thought back to the joyful memories of family dinners, laughter spilling out of the kitchen. Could unearthing a secret diminish all that? In the midst of their standoff, Charlie stepped forward, breaking the tension with a gentle voice. What if this journey leads you both to something more? Something that heals? His weathered eyes sparkled with an understanding only age could bring. Sometimes the truth isn't just about exposing shadows. It can also bring light, help you grow, and mend what's broken. Mary met Charlie's gaze, feeling the warmth of his words wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. But part of her remained anchored in fear. What if the light reveals darkness? Emily shifted, her protective posture softening slightly. I want our family to be okay. I do too, Mary whispered, uncertain yet resolute. But can we be okay if we're living in a lie? As they stood together in the dim glow of the attic, the flickering light from the dusty window illuminated a path filled with uncertainty. The sisterly bond they had once shared now felt fragile, but perhaps there lay beauty in vulnerability, in exploring the hidden threads of their family tapestry. I need to know what this hair means, Mary said, her voice steadied by a newfound determination. It's more than just a strand of hair. It's a piece of Dad's life, and it might help us understand him better. We owe it to ourselves. Emily exhaled slowly, a battle playing out on her face. The walls of their childhood began to feel less like a prison and more like a castle waiting to be explored. Fine, she conceded, her voice barely above a whisper. But we do this together. A flicker of hope ignited within Mary. As they began to sift through old boxes and crates, uncovering forgotten memories, Mary felt the distance between them start to close. Each photo and letter had the potential to bridge the gap, to show them that beneath the love and the secrets was a common ground they could stand on together. But just as they found an old letter addressed to an unknown recipient, a sudden noise broke their fragile moment. The attic door creaked again, swinging open wider than before, revealing Ben with a concerned look on his face. Mom, what's going on? I heard shouting. Caught off guard, the sisters exchanged glances, both feeling the weight of a truth that now had the power to ripple through the next generation. How would Ben react to the family's hidden story? Let's tell him, Mary said, feeling a wave of courage rise within her. He deserves to know the truth too. As the door swung back, pulling them deeper into the unknown, Mary wondered, would this revelation bond them, or would it threaten the love they had always known? Mary inhaled sharply, her pulse quickening as she looked at Ben. He stood on the threshold, uncertainty clouding his youthful features. A swirl of emotions churned in her stomach. Fear, pride, and an undeniable urge to protect him, even from the truth that had poised to fracture their family further. Ben, come here, Mary called, her voice steady despite the trembling within. The attic felt even smaller now, as if the space itself held its breath. Ben hesitated but stepped forward, glancing between the sisters. What's happening? You look intense, like a scene from a movie. He offered a nervous smile, trying to lighten the thick tension that hung in the air. There's something we need to share with you, Emily started, her voice softer than before. She moved to the side, allowing Ben a view of the boxes strewn across the floor, the remnants of their family's past waiting to be unearthed. What is it? He asked, confusion knitting his brow. Mary took a step closer, her heart racing. It's about Dad, and some things we found. He had secrets. The words felt heavy, like stones rolling off her tongue, clattering onto the wooden floor. Ben blinked rapidly, digesting her words. Secrets? What kind of secrets? Emily moved to his side, her protective instincts rising. It's complicated, Ben. Just trust us for now, okay? We're figuring things out. Together. He squared his shoulders, the weight of this unexpected revelation settling heavily on him. Mary could see the wheels turning in his mind. The innocence of childhood was at the brink of shattering under the weight of adult truths. What do you mean together? Ben asked, looking between both of them, eyebrows furrowed. Mary, fueled by a burst of bravery, gestured toward the letter they had found earlier. We found this. A letter from an unknown person addressed to Dad. It seems there was more to his life than we knew. We want to understand it. We think it could help us know him better. He took a few steps closer, curiosity mingling with concern. You mean, Dad had another life? Like, an affair? Was he unfaithful? The last word caught in his throat, laden with disbelief. No, it's not just that, Emily interjected, her voice rising slightly. We don't know what it means yet, but it's important. We need to explore it and see if it changes our memories of him. Ben swallowed hard, the reality settling like a stone in his chest. So do you want me to just accept that? That he wasn't who we thought he was? Think about it, Ben, Mary implored, stepping closer. Everything we believed about him was built on what he chose to show us. If we ignore this, we might as well be living in a fairy tale. What if there's something more that could help us understand who he really was? Ben tore his gaze from her, taking in the old family records scattered across the floor. He looked back at his mother, searching her face for reassurance. What if it breaks us? What if it ruins everything? Mary reached out, gripping his shoulder gently. We can only find hope in the truth. We owe it to ourselves to know him, however it may change the story. Silence blanketed the attic again, heavy and contemplative. It was a silence filled with the weight of discovery and the fear of what it might lead to. Ben finally nodded, albeit slowly. Okay, I guess we should do this. The resolve in his voice bolstered Mary's spirit. They might still falter, but at least they were walking this uncertain path together. As they prepared to take the plunge into their father's secrets, Mary felt a sudden chill wash over her. Just as she was about to reach for the letter, a soft creaking echoed behind them. They turned to see the attic door, still ajar, casting a shadow against the light filtering in. Wait! Ben's voice sliced through the tension. What if there's someone else out there? What if this isn't just about Dad? Mary looked to Emily, her heart racing again. What if their journey led beyond family memories and into uncharted territory? What more awaited them in the shadows lurking outside their attic sanctuary? Let's find out, Emily whispered, and together, they stepped closer to the envelope, knowing they were about to unveil secrets that could change everything. As the creaking door echoed ominously, silence enveloped the attic. Mary's breath caught in her throat as a shiver ran down her spine. She glanced at Ben and Emily, their expressions tight with a mix of trepidation and curiosity. The unexpected click of the floorboard outside blurred the line between their discovery and something far more daunting. Let's not jump to conclusions, Mary said softly, summoning the calm within her. If there's someone there, we handle it together. We've faced enough today. Emily nodded, the glimmer of determination returning to her eyes. Together. It was a mantra they would need now, more than ever. As the three of them huddled behind a stack of boxes, their hearts thudded in unison. Mary raised her hand and pointed toward the light streaming through the partially open door. We could call out, but what if it's someone who shouldn't be here? Ben's brows knitted together. Or someone who knows more about Dad than we ever did. What if they're connected to all of this? The thrill of possibility electrified the air. It also heightened the fear intertwining their thoughts. Ben, burdened with the realization that their father wasn't the hero he had imagined, felt his stomach twist uncomfortably. Do you think they know about the letter? He muttered, fidgeting with the collar of his shirt. What if they're coming for it? Focus, Ben, Mary said gently. Let's just see what this is. With a steadying breath, she inched forward, glancing at Emily for support. They moved as quietly as possible until they reached the door. Heart pounding, Mary peeked through the small gap. What she saw took her breath away. A woman stood on the dust-laden threshold, silhouetted against the golden light filtering in from the hallway. She appeared hesitant, as though contemplating whether to step inside the attic or retreat into the shadows. Even from this distance, Mary recognized the woman's features, aged yet unmistakable. Is that? Emily whispered, her voice barely audible above their shared shock. Mom? Ben breathed in disbelief. The woman's frail hand rested on the doorframe, trembling slightly, and for a moment, Mary felt a surge of protective instinct. "Mom?" Mary's voice was a mixture of confusion and tenderness. "Is that you?" The woman's head snapped up, wide-eyed and frightened, tears glistening in the corners of her eyes. "Mary, Emily, Ben, I didn't think you'd ever—" Her voice trailed off, laden with unspoken words and heavy heartache. "Why are you here? What are you doing?" Mary stepped out from behind the boxes, leaving Ben and Emily close behind. "I came to talk, to explain everything," she said, voice cracking under the weight of unshared burdens. "About your father, about the things I never told you." A mix of thrill and dread clawed at Mary's insides. Was this the moment they had all been preparing for? To unearth more family secrets, ones that went beyond the attic's dusty remnants? "What do you mean?" Ben pressed, stepping forward, his youthful angst bubbling to the surface. "What do you know?" As their mother's gaze locked onto Ben's, something shifted. The soft facade shattered, revealing a woman who had been through it all, wrinkled and weary, yet so vibrant. "I know things about your father. Things I should have revealed long ago. Things you deserve to know." Tension thickened in the air. Time seemed to stall. Every beat of their hearts aligned, every breath filled with incredulity and hope. What truths lay beneath the weight of her words? "Let's sit down and talk," Mary said, her voice steady yet inviting. "We're ready to listen." As they settled into a circle in the attic, engulfed in dust motes illuminated by the setting sun, Mary felt the heaviness of secrets dissipate with each word that hung in the air. But she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Her eyes slid to Emily and Ben, their expressions mirrors of anticipation and uncertainty. Would this moment bring them closer, or shatter everything they thought they knew about their family? And as their mother took a deep breath, preparing to unveil the layers of a life they never fully understood, Mary couldn't help but wonder, could uncovering these secrets lead them to healing, or would it unlock something darker? With that thought, they leaned in closer, ready for whatever revelation awaited them in the words that followed. Their mother took a shaky breath, the air thick with anticipation. "It's been years since I left. I thought I was protecting you." Her voice trailed off, as if she couldn't bear the weight of her own thoughts. The tremors in her hands intensified. Mary felt a knot tightening in her chest. "But we deserve to know the truth now, don't we?" she urged gently. "You can't keep us in the dark any longer." "Your father wasn't just some simple man," she murmured, tears glistening in the light. "He had another life, a life that put you all in danger." The words hit them like a punch, the room quiet except for the muffled sounds of their own gasping breaths. Emily's voice quivered as she asked, "What do you mean? What kind of danger?" The woman closed her eyes as if searching for the right words buried deep within her. "I was part of it. I knew things I shouldn't have. It was all wrapped around love. Dangerous love." Ben shifted, his distress starting to morph into anger. "Why didn't you protect us? Why did you leave us with him?" The accusation hung in the air, sharp and stinging. "Listen to me," her mother shot back, urgency coloring her tone. "I thought I was saving you from a monster. I never meant to hurt you. I had no choice but to go. Your father made me—" The weight of revelation settled like a thick fog. Gazes locked within the dim light of the attic. Mary saw Emily's confusion mixing with Ben's anger. Somehow, her own turmoil quieted under her mother's raw vulnerability. "You didn't choose to leave us," Mary said softly. "But you chose to come back. You still care." "I do," their mother uttered, and a fragile smile flickered on her lips, but the look in her eyes remained haunted. "The world I escaped wasn't what it seemed. Your father, he was involved in things you can't imagine, things I hope you'll never understand." "Then how do we know you're not—" Ben hesitated, searching for the right words. "Are you lying to keep us away from the truth?" Her mother shook her head, the anguish cleaving her features. "No. Every secret fractures trust. Every lie sets us further apart. I don't want to lie anymore. Not to you. Not to myself." Mary glanced at Emily, a flood of unspoken emotions reflecting in their glances. "What do we do now?" "I thought coming back would help you understand why I left," their mother said. "But the things I must share, they'll change how you see him. They'll change how you see everything." The attic felt like a time capsule, isolating them from the world outside, the night sky darkening, shadows stretching across the floor like misplaced memories. A creeping sense of foreboding threatened to swallow the fleeting hope that had dawned with their mother's return. "Just tell us," Mary urged, grasping her mother's trembling hand. "We're ready. Whatever it is, we can face it together." A long silence settled. The tension pulled taut, each moment lingering like the last note of a haunting melody. "What if the truth leads us down a path we can't come back from?" their mother whispered, her eyes shimmering with fear, regret, and resolve. Mary felt adrenaline surge, fueled by a mix of anxiety and fierce determination. "Then we'll face it," she insisted, squeezing her mother's hand. "All right," their mother said, a rare flicker of strength breaking through. "It all started before you were born, a decision made and promises broken." As she prepared to reveal the depths of their father's hidden life, a shiver ran through Mary. Would the truth heal them, or would it tether them to shadows they could never escape? And as the tension in the air thickened, Mary braced herself for words that could unravel everything they thought they knew. Would they still be a family when the last thread of the old life was torn away? "It all started with a promise," their mother began, her voice a mere whisper, catching in the still air of the attic. Mary felt her heart race as she leaned in, the anticipation wrapping around her like a heavy blanket. "A promise I made to your father," she continued. "Before you were born, he was wrapped up in a world filled with danger and lies. I thought love could set us free. I was naive." "What kind of world?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a murmur. Wide eyes locked on their mother's face, searching for answers. Their mother swallowed hard, the memory manifesting as a shadow across her features. "Your father wasn't the person you think he was. He was part of something bigger, something illegal, a network of people who thrived on chaos. I didn't see it at first. I fell in love with his charm, his smile. It all felt so glamorous then." Mary felt like the ground beneath her shifted. A riptide of betrayal churned in her stomach. "What did he do?" she managed to ask, though the answer was already clawing its way into her mind, each possibility more horrifying than the last. "He was a smuggler," her mother said, each word a dagger. "At first I didn't understand the full scope of it. I thought it was just transporting goods, something harmless. But—" the tremor returned to her voice. "It escalated. Money, drugs, and even people." Silence hung heavily in the attic, the dust floating around them like memories slowly unraveling. Mary felt tears stinging her eyes. How could the father she loved possibly be tied to such darkness? "Why did you stay if you knew?" Ben's voice burst with anger, the betrayal settling like ice in the pit of his stomach. "Why didn't you just leave him?" "Because I was scared," their mother admitted, her voice breaking. "He was not only my husband, he was the father of my children. I thought that staying would protect you, and if I could find a way to change him, maybe everything would be okay." Mary shook her head, despair dragging her down. "So you thought you could love him out of it? Love can cloud your judgment. I thought I could save both of you from that life. When it became dangerous, when threats to our family emerged, I made the hardest choice." She looked each of them in the eye, her gaze steadying. "I left for your sake." The truth was unraveling like an old sweater, threads hanging loose and frayed. Would the fabric hold, or would it all fall apart? Emily looked at their mother, a new fear creeping in. "Did he ever find you? Is he looking for us?" Their mother hesitated, emotions flickering across her face. "He doesn't know where I am. When I left, I made sure to cover my tracks. I thought you'd be safe with him if he didn't know I was gone." A soft creak echoed through the attic, and for a moment, it felt as if the house itself was holding its breath. Mary's heart raced with dread. "What if he finds out you're back?" "He might," their mother admitted, resignation seeping into her words. And when he does, I can't guarantee you'll be safe. Then what do we do? Ben's anger simmered beneath his words. But there was something else too. Fear. Their mother's expression faltered. We need to make a plan. We need to confront the past so we can break free from it. You have to decide if you're willing to accept these parts of your history. Mary felt the weight of decisions pressing down on her, stifling. The night outside grew darker, hiding secrets cloaked in shadows, just like the truth they were facing. I'm ready to take on whatever comes next, Mary said, determination igniting in her heart. But amidst that courage, a question lingered, echoing against the walls of the attic. Would the struggles of their past lead them to a future worth fighting for, or would they find themselves forever trapped in the shadows of their father's legacy? As the tension in the room thickened, her mother opened her mouth to respond. But just then, the sound of footsteps creaked from below, jangling through the stillness. "Who's there?" Mary gasped, a rush of fear tightening her chest. Shadows pooled at the bottom of the attic stairs, dark figures looming and breathing life into their deepest fears. Mary froze, every nerve in her body electrified with terror. The shadows below flickered like ghosts, growing taller and more defined. She shared a quick glance with her siblings, their eyes wide, reflecting uncertainty and fear. Their mother's face, usually a symbol of comfort, was now carved with lines of worry. "Stay quiet," their mother whispered, urgency woven into her tone. Mary could barely breathe, her heart pounding in her ears. She strained to hear the movement below. Were those heavy footsteps approaching? Her mind raced through the tapestry of what they'd just uncovered and linked it to the looming presence beneath them. Would their father's secrets now come crashing into their lives like a storm? "Is it him?" Ben whispered, his bravado faltering into dread. "No," their mother replied, though Mary could hear the threat of doubt in her voice. "It can't be him. I think it might be someone else." As the footsteps drew closer, Mary felt a surge of panic. Her instincts screamed at her to hide, to make an escape. The attic was cluttered, filled with years of forgotten treasures and memories, but there was nowhere safe. The door was just a few feet away, and her legs felt like lead. Without thinking, Emily darted behind a stack of old boxes, her small frame disappearing into the shadows. "Emily!" Ben hissed, a mixture of awe and terror. "Get back here!" But it was too late. Darkness consumed the space around Emily, swallowing her as she huddled in silence. The tension twisted in Mary's stomach. How could they not sweep their youngest sister back into safety? "Keep still," their mother instructed, her voice low. "Don't move. Just wait." The footsteps stopped. Mary's heart seemed to leap into her throat. She realized that her hands were trembling. It was as if time itself had frozen. The shadows danced beneath the cracked attic door, and the distant echo of breath filled the space with an ominous tension. The door creaked open. Light spilled into the attic, illuminating dust and memories alike. Mary squinted against the brightness, her heart racing with confusion and fear. Standing in the opening was a figure she didn't recognize. A man in a dark coat, his face partially obscured, yet familiar enough to make her freeze. He scanned the room with a careful gaze, and for a moment, it felt as though he was looking into her soul. "Who are you?" her mother called out, her voice steadying even as her heart trembled. "Just looking for something," the man said, his voice smooth yet laced with an edge of tension. "Something that belongs to me." The way he spoke sent a shiver down Mary's spine. She remembered how her mother had described their father, a smuggler whose words were sweet but could hide nasty intentions. "What do you want?" Ben challenged, stepping slightly in front of his sisters. "Your mother." The man's gaze flickered to Mary's mother, and the gravity of his words hit like a rock. "I want her to come with me. We have unfinished business." Mary sensed the air thickening around them, and her hands balled into fists at her side. What kind of business could he possibly have with their mother? "No," their mother replied, her voice a mix of defiance and fear. "I will not go with you. I left that life behind." "Did you?" The corner of his mouth twitched upward, a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. "No matter how far you run, the past has a way of catching up." With each word, Mary felt the path ahead growing steeper, the shadows at the edges of their lives darkening. The ties of their history were pulling them back, threatening everything they fought to build since their mother had left. "Stop right there," Mary said, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. "You don't get to come here and threaten us." The man's eyes narrowed as he finally locked gazes with Mary, bringing an unexpected surge of vulnerability forward. "And what will you do if I don't?" In that moment, Mary realized her heart wasn't just racing from fear. It was also fueled by a blazing determination. They had been given a chance to confront their past, and now it was at their door, both terrifying and awakening. With a rush of courage, Mary stepped forward, ready to face whatever this man intended. They could no longer hide from the shadows. It was time to fight back. As silence engulfed the attic once more, Mary faced the man, a question hanging in the air. Would they finally break free from the chains of the past, or would they be consumed by it all over again? The man's gaze bore into Mary, a mix of curiosity and calculation. Time seemed to stretch, each second feeling like an hour. Her siblings held their breath, waiting for someone to act. Ben shifted his weight, ready to pounce if needed, but Mary couldn't take her eyes off the stranger. "Mary, back down," her mother whispered, the fear threading her voice once more. "He's not worth it." "But Mom," Mary shot back, the fire of defiance igniting within her. "You can't just let him talk to you like that. He's here to drag you back into a life you fought so hard to escape." The man let out a low chuckle, surprising all of them. Fought hard? Or simply ran away? His words felt like daggers, sharp and painful. Mary took a deep breath, trying to stay steady. "I'll do what I have to do to protect my family," she declared, her voice stronger than she felt inside. "Protect?" He laughed again, bitterness lacing his tone. "You're just kids playing in a grown-up's game. You have no idea what you're up against." He stepped forward, and a cold wave of dread washed over Mary. She could see the hard lines of his face more clearly now, the familiar intensity of his eyes mirroring their father's. "Stop!" Ben shouted, adrenaline fueling his voice. "You won't take her. You don't scare us." The man paused, surprised by Ben's outburst. There was a flicker of something in his eyes, perhaps admiration or amusement. "Is that so?" he asked, his tone shifting. "What do you think will happen if I decide to take her by force?" Mary felt the world tilt dangerously beneath her feet. Her heart pounded, and she exchanged frightened glances with Emily, who had emerged from her hiding place, unwilling to stay silent anymore. "You don't scare us," Emily echoed, her voice surprisingly firm for a little girl. "We'll fight." The tension in the room shifted slightly, as if the air itself had grown thicker with their resolve. The man surveyed them one by one, calculating. "Interesting courage in the face of danger," he mused, "but it won't save you." "What do you want from her?" Mary asked, her voice steady, though she felt the tremor of fear creeping back in. What unfinished business could possibly be worth this? His smile was chilling. "Your mother and I have history. She abandoned her past, but that part of her is still very much alive. The secrets she left behind are dangerous, and it's time for her to claim them. She can't escape." "No!" their mother cried out, stepping forward as if to shield her children from the truth. "I've made my choices. I've moved on." The man shrugged, the smirk remaining in place. "Choices, yes, but they also come at a cost." He leaned closer, and the fear washed over Mary like a cold shower. "That cost may very well be your family." Mary felt every inch of her body tremble, the weight of his threat sinking deep into her bones. The stakes were higher than she had ever imagined. Fists clenched, resolve simmering. The only thought in her mind was to protect her family at all costs. "Not if we stand together," she said, her voice steady despite the overwhelming threat. A moment of silence passed, hanging in the air. Would they really band together against the shadows looming from their past? The door creaked behind him, slightly ajar, revealing more light from within the house. "You'll have your chance," he said, his expression unreadable. "But know this, the past doesn't just knock, it barges in, and it always brings trouble." Without waiting for a response, he turned, the shadows enfolding him once again as he pushed back through the door. As it slammed shut, the attic fell into a heavy silence, leaving Mary and her family reeling. "What do we do now?" Ben asked, concern etching his features. Mary felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them, but she also sensed that they had crossed a threshold. This wasn't just about their mother's past anymore, it was about their future too.
"Now," Mary replied, her voice steady, "we figure out what secrets were left unsaid, and what we'll do to ensure they won't tear us apart." They now had a decision to make, faced with an unknown future and lurking shadows. But as Mary looked at her siblings, determination flickered inside her. They could either succumb to fear or rise up to confront their fate together.
With that thought hanging in the air, a new question lingered. What was the truth about their mother's past? And how deep did its roots go? The attic was silent, the kind of silence that clung to the air like static. Mary could hear her own heartbeat thumping in her ears as her siblings exchanged anxious glances. The weight of their mother's past hung over them, a darkness that seemed almost palpable. "What does he mean by secrets?" Ben whispered, the edge of fear creeping into his voice. His bravado from just moments ago felt thin. Mary's mind raced. She replayed every moment of their mother's life, every little piece of history that had been sewn into the fabric of their family. "I don't know," she finally admitted, "but we need to find out." Their mother, standing between them and the door, looked smaller now, her shoulders heavy with the burden of the past. "You kids don't understand, it's complicated. I thought I could leave it all behind," she said, tears glimmering in her eyes. Mary stepped closer to her, a surge of empathy filling the space where fear had been. "You can't just let him back in, Mom. We can figure this out together." Emily, frail but fierce, added, "What if there are things we can't fix? What if he takes you away?" Her voice trembled, reflecting the fear that had taken root in all of them. Their mother knelt down, close to Emily's level, her hands resting gently on her daughter's shoulders. "No one is taking me anywhere, I promise," she said, her voice soft yet steely. "But the truth, it's mine to tell, and it might not be easy." Mary felt a swell of anger rise within her, a push against the helplessness of their situation. "He said you abandoned your past. What did you leave behind? Who is he to make you feel this way?" A flicker of hurt passed over her mother's face. "Trust me, sweetie. Sometimes it's easier to run than to face what you've done. And sometimes it's harder than anything to stand and fight," Mary shot back, her frustration boiling to the surface. "You say you left it behind, but now it's here threatening us. We deserve to know why." The atmosphere thickened, like the very air was charged with electricity. Their mother sighed, her gaze drifting back towards the door the man had exited through. "Long ago," she began slowly, "I loved someone who didn't love me back in the right way. We got caught up in something much darker than I knew. I thought if I left I could save you all. But he's here because I didn't finish what I started. I owe it to him, to us, to face it." Mary's heart raced as she absorbed the depth of her mother's confession. But why now? Why come back? Because some things don't stay buried forever. Her mother's voice trailed off, and Mary could see the fear reflected in her eyes, mirroring her own. Ben, trying to break the tension, pointed towards the door. "Then let's find out what he wants. Together. We owe it to ourselves, right?" Mary felt a rush of warmth at Ben's words. This was the moment they had been waiting for. A united front. She looked at Emily, whose small hand rested in her own, and nodded. Together. Their mother hesitated, but something in their determination seemed to inspire her. "Okay," she said, her voice trembling but filled with resolve. "You're right. We face this together." Before they could lose their nerve, Mary led them toward the attic door. She glanced back at her siblings. All three of them locked eyes, holding on to the silent promise that no matter what lurked behind the door, they would take the step forward as a family. As they stepped into the hallway, a cold breeze swept through, making them shiver. Mary took a deep breath, her heart racing. What lay ahead was unknown, but the prospect of discovering the truth also ignited a fire within her. Once they reached the front door, Mary hesitated, hand poised over the knob. "Are we ready for this?" she asked quietly. "More than ever," Ben replied, bravery lighting up his face. "Then let's face it, together," she said firmly, turning the knob and stepping into the shadows that awaited them. What would they discover when facing the man who carried the weight of her mother's secrets? Would they emerge stronger, or would the past consume them? As they stepped out of the attic, anticipation crackled in the air. The shadows loomed large against the walls, but Mary felt an unyielding strength radiating from within her. Together, they would face whatever lay beyond that door. Gathering courage, Mary pushed open the front door. The chill of the evening breeze swept through the house, carrying whispers of the past. They stepped outside, shadows darting in the fading light, revealing a figure waiting at the bottom of the porch steps. It was the stranger, his face half-cast in darkness, his coat flapping gently in the breeze. He took a step forward, his eyes narrowing as he assessed them. Mary felt her mother tense beside her, but she held the tremor of uncertainty at bay. "Back for more?" the man asked, the smirk now absent from his face. He leveled his gaze at Mary, clearly intrigued by her fierce posture. "Or do you want to talk peace instead of battle?" Mary's heart pounded. The moment felt suspended in time, with the air thick with possibilities. "We want to know the truth," she replied, her voice steady. "All of it." His laugh was harsh, devoid of amusement. "Truth? That's a game for those brave enough to face the consequences of what they find." The way he leaned forward, eyes glinting with challenge, drove a shiver down Mary's spine. "It's a risk we're willing to take," Ben chimed in, pulling Mary closer. His resolve echoed the promise of their unity. The man's expression flickered, perhaps softened for just a moment. Then, "Listen carefully," he said, voice dropping to a more serious tone. "Your mother made choices that impacted lives, even ones you wouldn't expect." Mary glanced at her mother, whose eyes reflected the tumult within her, uncertainty mixed with resolve. Mary took her mother's hand, squeezing it gently, drawing strength from her presence. "I've put the past behind me," their mother spoke, her voice strong despite the fears lurking beneath. "But I need to understand what you want and what you plan to do." "Your past is much larger than you realize," the man replied, his gaze sharpening. "And it involves people who can't just walk away. It's messy, dangerous, and your father, he was at the center of it all." The mention of their father sent a ripple of dread through them. Mary swallowed hard, wanting to ask everything and nothing all at once. "But he's gone. If it's behind us, why do you insist on dragging it all back?" "Because your mother's choices didn't just vanish," he replied harshly. "They could be the key to what's coming next." "What do you mean?" Emily piped up, her voice shaking yet bolstered by her siblings' support. "What is this next threat?" "There are those who are waiting," the man said, shifting his stance. "For your mother to slip. Mistakes that she made. The people she left behind could erupt at any moment." The chill of his words cloaked them. Mary exchanged glances with her siblings, each search for reassurance mirrored back. They wouldn't let fear overtake them. Whatever dangers lay ahead, they would walk through it together. "Then let's confront them," Mary said, a determination flaring within. "We can't let our past dictate who we are. This is our family." The man's eyes narrowed. "That's a bold claim, kid. Are you sure you want to go down that road, facing what you once fled from?" Mary felt a wave of heat rise in her. "We're not running anymore. No more hiding. What's coming won't scare us." In that moment, a spark ignited in the man's expression, as if her words stirred something dormant within him. "You've got guts. I'll give you that. But guts alone won't save you." "We have each other," Ben added, the strength in his voice surprising even himself. "Together, we can uncover the truth." The man regarded them for a heartbeat longer, uncertainty flickering in his eyes before he stepped aside. "Then follow me. If you're truly committed to confronting your past, be prepared for what you may uncover." As they descended the porch steps, Mary felt the gravity of the moment settle around her, the unity of siblings who stood shoulder to shoulder in the face of an unknown future. The man turned, leading them toward shadows that felt like ghosts of their history. With every step, the air seemed to pulse with weighty anticipation and love, each moment binding them tighter. They were no longer just individuals, but a collective force ready to confront the remnants of their family's secret past. Together, they stepped into the receding light, ready to reclaim what was lost, knowing they were stronger together, facing whatever lay ahead, admitting fear and uncertainty, yet vibrant with hope in their hearts. They would carve their own path through the shadows of their family's complex tapestry. This was not just a confrontation of the past. It was a rebirth for their family. A chance to heal, to create trust, and maybe, just maybe, to walk into a future colored by love instead of secrets. As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, illuminating their way forward, Mary realized the most powerful truth. They were not just uncovering secrets. They were rewriting their family's narrative, filled now with courage, connection, and resilience. And in this moment, together, they knew they would shine brightly against whatever darkness lingered in the corners of their history. Now, as you've felt the journey of Mary and her family, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe now to catch every exclusive story that unfolds. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now, to energize the algorithm and ensure everyone can experience this incredible transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending down below. And remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support truly makes a difference and helps create a community that thrives on shared stories.